Okay. First I'm going to show you what sketch notes are because there's really no wrong way to do it. So this video is going to show you how you can do it. You can use words, symbols, arrows, draw all kinds of stuff. Make it look like something else. It doesn't have to be good. Stick figures are fine. And so basically you're trying to explain the idea through pictures. Like there was a time when we didn't have English. We didn't have letters. So we
like cavemen?
Like cavemen. You drew pictures. Remember you had, hands all over the cave walls. They had little sad bears and cats and stuff. So we're going to read this article together about the coldest town on the planet, which is in Siberia, and this is from 2 years ago. Oops.
Is it like really depressing?
No.
So they're eyelashes.
Okay. So you see her eyelashes. There's your first clue. It's cold as crap. So this is the coldest village on Earth. Eyelashes freeze, dinner's frozen, and temperatures sink to negative 88 degrees Fahrenheit. That's almost 100 below zero. So in this remote outpost in Siberia, cold is no small affair. Eyelashes freeze. So what do you think the first thing I'm going to draw is?
An eyeball.
Oh my god. Did he die? Did he die instantly? Out there without
I knew she would draw. Hey, they're my
What happens if your nose is running, okay?
It's going to freeze.
So
if you like dump something out onto the ground, it's gonna freeze once it by the time it hits the ground. Probably.
And I'm drawing heavy eyelashes because that's like the person in this picture. If you have any kind of moisture on your exposed body and you step out into something that cold, it instantly freezes. So you got snot boogies, you got wet eyelashes, wet hair, it's all instantly frozen.
See, I told you, you will have snot.
Yes, you will have a snot snickle.
I just wonder that because I'm fully expressing.
So it has been cold here. When it gets down to about 10 degrees above zero, about there, if you take a cup of hot water and chuck it in the air, it instantly freezes in crystals. So at negative 88, it's going to be that much more cold. Eyelashes freeze. Frostbite is a constant danger, and cars are usually kept running even when not being used, lest their batteries die in temperatures that average minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. So I'm going to draw a car that's got to run.
Why would you?
Guys, I'm a professional
Why would
artist.
people even live there?
I'm a professional artist.
Because then the towers guy goes there and then stupid people make styles who have to do it. And then stupid people keep doing that and build Siberia.
Of course, I'm all about the tractor. My car is really big tires.
So I drew a car that said, "Don't turn me off."
My daughter's eyelash, it has really long eyelashes.
Her eyebrows are frozen. Everything else is frozen.
That looks like our old music teacher. You know the one?
This is Omayakhan, a town of 500 people in Russia that has earned the reputation as the coldest permanently occupied human settlement in the world. So I'm going to draw Omayakhan. Oh my. If I could spell it. Omayakhan. Yep. So I drew a sign, like when you come into a town, it tells you like, this is a town, how many people are generally in it. This is in Siberia, so far, far East Russia.
How many people are in Switzerland County?
About 15,000. VV is about 1,700 maybe, 1,500. So this town is about a third of VV. Because we're going to see how hard it is to live there. And I'm going to draw, if it gets down to -58, I'm going to draw a thermometer.
Does say
How does your
P500?
car look like that? That's like the best car I've
Is
ever
that what that says?
Looks like the car of Amazing World of Gumball.
So I drew a thermometer of -58 because that is cold. It is not a reputation that has been won easily. Earlier this week, a cold snap sent temperatures plunging toward record lows when reports as extreme as -88 degrees Fahrenheit. The village recorded an all-time low of -98 degrees in 2013.
What's the warmest it's got there?
I don't know. Anything's better than -88, right? So I'm going to draw somebody who's just cold. Oh yeah, we could draw. Oh, that one doesn't work. So let's draw snowflake.
What are those?
Snowflakes because it's very, very cold. And if the record is -88, I'm going to make emphasis on 88.
I've been colder than -88 before. How? One time I got frozen into kryptonite. No. What? Han Solo got frozen into. How?
What?
Not melted into. Okay. Same thing.
So I wrote, oh my God, 88 record. Because that's the record below. Oh, I need to put an 8 negative. -88.
How do your A's look like that?
I drew like circles.
I'm already getting the 5. It's cold out.
Okay, when it gets to about 10 here, we usually delay or close school because we don't want you standing outside and waiting for the bus dying. In Russia, too bad. Schools in the area remained open. Almost 100 degrees below zero and they're still going to school.
wonder if they can go outside.
Remained open as temperatures dipped into the -40s. They were closed on Tuesday. So they got to get almost 100 degrees below zero before they actually close. -40 ain't going to cut it. -40, this town, county, state would come to a crashing halt. So
Never say
we can draw school being open. So I'm going to draw a little schoolhouse and a little flag.
It's a cake. It's a cake. This is my last song. Spring be back on like my name.
I'm still drawing the 88.
You know Kawhi Leonard's a robot?
Yeah. So I drew school open. It says still open, suckers.
That looks like a jail. It's the same thing.
Well, at -40, I think it is kind of a jail.
It didn't even have
And if you've ever lived in an old house where the water freezes when it gets, close to zero, imagine what -40 is like.
That'd be some cold water.
I have been in classrooms where it was so cold my markers wouldn't were right on the board. But I was also in like a construction trailer, so it wasn't really that insulated. Dark 21 hours a day in the winter because they're tilted away from the sun. The town has been an object of international curiosity as its reputation for fearsome cold and resilient residents who, oh, part of my article's there, it's gone. So 21 hours a day. I'm going to draw a sun
Is it sunny?
with a big old X on it because it's not going to happen. No sun. It's dark. 21 hours a day.
Do they even have a moon?
Yeah, they have moons, but
Well, it's still,
No, the
it's not like they're on a different planet.
Why would they not have a moon? I didn't think we'd be able to see the moon.
you're going to see all the stars in the moon because it's going to be dark. The sun never really comes up. They only get 3 hours of light a day. Amos Chappell, a photojournalist from New Zealand, which is on the other side of the bottom of the planet from Siberia, traveled to the region in 2015 to capture the sub-zero way of life. The village is remote, located closer to the Arctic Circle than to the nearest city. So it's way, way, way out there. The nearest city is 500 miles away. So if I have a town here, I'm going to draw 500 miles. Next town. This is another sign. Another sign that says next town 500 miles. Kind of like when you have the next sign, you know, Madison's this far, Easton Enterprise this far. And Chappell described the arduous trip to get there to the Washington Post. After a 7-hour flight from Moscow, so that's the capital of Russia. The capital is 7 hours by plane. That's far, far away. So if you were on a plane,
Oh, yeah.
That's
That's
like
rolling
the airport
planes.
there or
I used to make
something?
planes.
Or you just land like 500 miles away. 7,000 miles.
I can't see what you drew behind the sun.
an eyeball.
No, right beside it.
Oh, it's a clock. It says 21 hours.
My thermometer is pretty good.
It's 7 hours to Moscow by plane. That is a long flight. We can get across the country in the U.S. in about 3 to 4 hours. Russia's twice as wide, so it takes longer. That's just the capital.
Yeah, but there's-
You have to get to the capital first, get a plane, and then you're going to take off.
I'll take a horse.
After a 7-hour flight from Moscow, some 3,300 miles away, so it's over 3,000 miles away from this town, he took a van to a nearby gas station.
Look at my plate.
So I'm going to do a plus sign here, a little bus,
That little sign says next town 5 miles.
500 miles. I'm going to draw a bus. Yay, bus. So you gotta do your bus. And then you gotta get to a gas station. So I'm gonna put a little sign that says petrol. You gotta hook up your bus here to the gas. And then you gotta hitch a ride to the village after waiting 2 days in a shack. So you've flown, you got a bus. Now, you're gonna have a little shack here. Shack. And you're gonna wait 2 days. So I'm gonna draw 2 clocks.
I didn't even know I had a game.
You gotta wait 2 days in a little bitty shack. And you're gonna eat reindeer soup.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna draw a reindeer.
Rangers are actually real. They actually are. I'm not playing.
And I'm going to draw a bowl.
Do they fly then?
Yeah. They actually do. There's actual reindeer.
Seen one?
Yeah.
When?
I've seen that. There's people at the sales that own them.
Reindeer soup.
That's not nice.
So I put reindeer going into a bowl with the saucer.
Reindeer sitting in a
After the first couple of days, I was physically wrecked from just strolling around the streets for a few hours because it's so cold. You need the calories to even just get up and move. Just keep a body temperature at, functioning temperature. The winter diet is mostly meat-based. You need that protein to survive, hence the reindeer. Sometimes eaten raw or frozen. Because how are you going to cook it when it's negative 88? Even a small fire may not get your temperature up to cooking due to the inability to grow crops in the frigid temperatures. Some regional specialties include strogania, which is raw, long sliced, frozen fish.
Oh, fish?
Raw fish.
That's not bad.
So
Put a little pepper on it.
I'm going to draw a fish that is sliced and it is frozen. So I'm going to do snowflakes again. Oh, it's dead, so I got to put
Can you
extra.
draw a
Eat it for
camelfish?
$5.
Can you draw us the camelfish? It's massive.
Reindeer meat, so we are going to get reindeer. Frozen horse liver.
Ooh, that sounds good. I love horses.
So I'm going to draw a
I love
I love my horse.
any mark. Well, that one doesn't work. Oh,
What do those text bubbles say on the bus?
yay bus. Petrol.
Is that a unicorn?
It's a horse,
Alright.
and I want the liver out of it.
Is that a ear? Not a horn?
Yeah, that's a horse ear.
Alright.
And
How's my fish look?
the next thing they eat, ice cubes of horse blood with macaroni.
Oh, what?
So, okay, macaroni.
You guys like my horse? I used to draw the best horse.
I'm drawing macaroni here
Dang, that sounds good.
with blood.
I'd eat that any day of the week.
If there's something wrong with it, that's really.
No, this isn't off. Mine just looks like a coffee.
Why the blood?
It said ice cubes of horse blood. Because blood gives you nutrients.
Because Russia.
Russia drinks vodka.
Okay, here is blood cubes
Make some macaroni for.
on a plate.
Macaroni. Did you put the short paper in front?
Macaroni.
I think 6. Wait, what do they call that?
Blood.
Mac or bloody? I just put mac and blood.
Ice cubes and macaroni.
They heat it up.
Well, you can't eat an ice cube if it's not solid.
Russia stuff.
I mean, you could heat up your macaroni and put it in.
Then you just have liquid blood on your macaroni.
Not if you eat it fast enough.
Yeah, but like,
Because people love the cold food, the frozen raw Arctic fish, the white salmon, whitefish, and frozen raw horse liver, but they are considered to be delicacies. Local ballad Bakarev told the Weather Channel, in daily life, we like eating soup with meat. Meat is a must. It helps our health much. You gotta have that protein if you're gonna survive something this cold, because the protein helps your muscles function and your brain.
How many people die? How many people die every single day in there? 65 per average per
Wait,
minute.
so does their eyelashes just like freeze once you go outside?
If you have any kind of moisture on your face and you go outside, yes.
Yo, she has
The villages once a stopover in the 1920s and 30s for reindeer herders who would water their flocks at a thermal spring that didn't freeze. So
probably listen to like Juice WRLD.
I'm gonna draw a
I can't see.
spring,
Waiting for the snow to go.
and I'm gonna draw a reindeer.
I've rode on a reindeer before. Camper. I can draw without looking. That's how good I am. Oh no.
The reindeer would come to the spring.
Don't kill the reindeer.
Bathrooms are mostly outdoors. It's 100 degrees below zero. You gotta go drop a dookie in the outhouse. So, I need to draw
What's the reindeer?
they were reindeer herders. So if I have a herd of reindeer,
My reindeer looks like autistic.
I gotta draw a little outhouse.
Yeah, my reindeer's gonna be like a 90 pointer, you know.
You gotta be.
And here's a little,
He's gonna die.
Sound waves come back.
My reindeer's pretty
so I drew a little outhouse with toilet paper roll outside, and then it's stinky. That's where their bathroom is.
We need that toilet paper.
You can't have an indoor bathroom because the pipes
I have
freeze.
one.
No, the toilet paper roll.
Because
What's that outside?
To assemble to make it understand it's an outhouse and
It'd
not
be
just regular
frozen.
boxes.
Just go outside to get it.
The ground is too frozen for pipes. According to the Weather Channel, the ground has to be warmed with a bonfire to break into, such as digging a grave. So they've got to light a fire, melt the top layer of ground, just so they can dig and put their dead bodies somewhere. So
Throw them in the river.
we're going to draw a bonfire.
Can they even get fire?
Yeah, you can get fire anywhere.
How would they throw it in the river if it's completely frozen?
They don't throw the bodies in the
You
river.
know what they need?
They got to bury the bodies.
He said
Put gasoline
throw them in the river.
There is no river.
Where they drink from?
Can they ice fish?
Yeah.
I want to go to Russia now.
So this is a bonfire.
I bring my beans over. So Russians like beans, right?
No, they like fire.
Don't Russian people pay like $1 for your jeans? Like they'll buy your jeans off of you?
No.
Not anymore.
So I drew a dead guy next to a bonfire in a coffin because you've got to have some heat to melt the ground.
Or you
and dig
just
the
throw
hole.
the body in the fire and let it
My dead guy is a midget.
And then I'm going to draw a guy with a shovel
pickaxe.
because you got to dig the hole to put the body in first. The press office for the region's governor said that all the households and businesses have central heating and backup power generators because when it's that cold and that icy, it's going to weigh down power lines. So you need your own thing. So we need to draw.
Like honestly, you guys always
I just don't think my car is the best thing.
I could fall asleep. I'm stay up.
I'm sure it went to bed.
So I drew a weird little box with a power symbol.
Is that an Xbox?
Yeah, basically it looks like. It's a box that says generator because you got to have power.
This is an Xbox.
Xbox 360.
Alcoholism is believed to be an issue in the area, Chapel told reporters. Because it's cold, it's dark, there's nothing to do, they drink. So let's draw.
I mean,
Let's draw.
they drink it. It froze in their mouth.
And they died.
Yeah.
It would freeze in their mouth.
Either they died drunk or they died of vodka freezing.
I'm going to draw a beer mug.
What about that? How do you? I mean, I think that just looks cold, but like.
With
A dead person.
with a sick looking person, alcoholism.
He's smiling with his tongue out.
I've never tried.
Well, X's usually mean dead or sick. So he's got dead or sick eyes with his tongue out, so alcoholism, you might die, you might be sick.
When
Mine is like,
did that just freeze in her bottle?
Alcohol doesn't freeze. Depending on how cold the weather dips, people often trade off 20-minute shifts when working outside. So every 20 minutes you switch with a partner to go outside and work.
Alcohol doesn't freeze.
Nope,
It's a liquid.
but it's not water.
It's not. It's not a good.
Sprite freezes.
It's not a good liquid. Have you tried?
I just a little.
I'm a good kid.
Life doesn't make sense.
Alcohol's overrated.
Windex won't freeze, I figured that out.
Because it's got alcohol in it.
I am 150.
So I can drink.
So I drew
I'll pour rubbing
two
alcohol all over
people
my
that says
body.
20 minutes
And I can walk out
because
there
they
and
switch
freeze.
partners working outside.
Wait, can I pour alcohol on me and walk out there when it freezes?
They can only stay out there.
So I'd be warm the whole
They can
time.
only work out there for
Well,
20
it'll
minutes.
make your body warm, but it also
So I
dehydrates you.
figured out why people drink Windex.
Chapel said
I
saliva
drink
would
hand
freeze
sanitizer.
into needles that would prick my lips. So if you have any kind of spit, it's going to suddenly freeze when you go outside, and then you have like little ice stab in your mouth. Shooting was no easier. His camera would constantly get too cold to shoot, he said. The
Why do you
steam
shoot a camera?
escaping from his mouth would swirl around like cigar smoke. So,
That's like being in a
you have a guy.
Breathing out.
I could breathe out smoke.
Yeah.
I could do it right out of my mouth. What?
That'd be like a bandage.
So if the guy is smoking, he can't take a picture with his phone.
Hey guys, watch this. I'm smoking. Why would you want to take a picture of you
That's Charlie.
smoking?
Because he's a photojournalist.
That's Charlie Sheen.
So you can't take a picture if you can't see what you're taking a picture of anyway. He would have to hold his breath so it wouldn't cloud the frame. So now you're outside in the cold trying not to breathe so your breath doesn't fog up the camera.
Why did you just move to America?
He told Wired that he shot one photo without his gloves on, only to find his thumb partially frozen. So let's draw a hand.
Oh,
Me trying to answer my back.
oh Jesus. Straw hand.
Oh no.
And it's going to be frozen.
My hand. I can barely even draw a hand.
My hand looks like clouds.
Mine looks like a hand balloon.
Like
I
I
can't draw anymore.
will really show you my hand.
Is this a grade
That's
on our artwork? Is this a grade on our artwork?
Nope.
Thank the Lord, because I got like a taste.
Look at my hand.
Of course, I'm trying to breathe in.
What is that? Oh, that's 6 fingers.
So what I've drawn here is sketch notes that drew out the ideas of the article. And by drawing things and trying to take out things that you could visually see as you were reading, you use different parts of your brain, and so it's more effective than taking notes and just writing words that you just copied. Because half of you, I bet, don't even pay attention to what you're writing in the first place. But this is the first practice we'll do of taking notes in a different way. And we're going to do this later on this month with something else where you're going to get to use these on the test. So you're going to hold on to these.
Stop.
So we're also going to draw some other things about stuff about Russia. So they get meteors. Because they have a lot of mountains, because everything was made from tectonics, there's a natural divider between Europe and Asia. And Russia kind of straddles the mountains. These are the Caucasus Mountains, and this is where the term Caucasian came from. So the term for white people, Caucasian, most white people kind of live on the one side of the mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. The other side is Asia, and since that's kind of where they were, Caucasian.
Hey, it's Georgia.
Georgia is a country, yep. This is, a lot of plates are coming together. They're very active. You can see all these different kinds of white people here. It's actually politically a mess right now because Russia wants to take it over, and those people don't want anything to do about it. But the term Caucasian came from a scientist who thought there were only 5 races. We know that's not true. And he had no idea how to call people who were mixed with mixed parents. But the term is still stuck. There is mountains down the middle called the Ural Mountains, not Ural, Ural. And it's kind of considered the boundary between Russia and Asia. But Russia owns parts over there, and for a while they owned parts of Europe, because Russia was massive at one time. It's not as populated in the north because you got all this going on. It's cold. People live south. But there's oil and gas.
Why does Captain Sea look like a horse on a cyclone lane?
Oil, gas,
Caspian.
and
Not a
coal.
gas.
I have.
Kazakhstan.
So these are,
Kazakhstan.
so add these to your picture. Resources.
Kazakhstan. Did I spell it?
Huh?
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Is it the resources one?
So you're adding resources to your picture because Russia is actually very wealthy in terms of natural resources. And all those things are used to heat and power because it gets cold. You need that. That was one of the first things that they needed besides food. They also have emeralds. So, emeralds, potassium,
I thought that was water.
and platinum.
Yeah, platinum.
Platinum jewelry is super expensive.
Really?
It's more expensive than diamonds.
Yes.
I find diamonds all the time in Minecraft.
Diamonds are just compressed carbon.
They're just cold.
Now, there is meteorites. A meteorite is a rock that has fallen from space. You got all this gravel and debris flying around space, and because there's only gravity in space when you get close to a planet or a sun or something that pulls it to you, when these things are flying through the air, and there's a lot of debris in space because it's massive, sometimes the debris hits you. So if you are the biggest target on the planet, you're more likely to get meteorites. And because they're so wide on the planet, they are a pretty big target. And these are some of the biggest ones that they've had. And when I say they're big, I mean they're so big, they lit up the sky, they did damage, and people heard it from hundreds of miles. So the first, I'm going to show you the second video first. They like dash cams in Russia because they have a lot of insurance fraud. So if you have a dash cam, you can prove what happened didn't happen because people are always trying to scam you. So they have a lot of dash cams. So they caught a lot of these videos of these meteorites happening.
Isn't that one where that meteorite turned the whole sky? Like,
Есть горел там, да?
А что думаешь, может спутник там уже же падал, они сказали,
did it go through that or something? Or is that true?
Now watch the light. This is the same meteorite, and they caught all these videos of it in shockwaves and stuff.
My guy is so lucky. He about just got hit. Oh, great.
He was one step away from dying.
Why are you just standing there like that?
My guy just flew. Alright, that guy's dead at the bottom right. He completely died.
That's a door. That's a door, bro.
My guy fell at the top of the building into that
Does it
room.
depend on where you are when
Alright, there's no.
at the shop?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, if someone's there, they're not alive anymore. So they're right there.
Imagine someone was standing at the door.
It's not funny. Watch this. She's just having fun.
And keep your head on the counter. And they don't know what happened. They don't know what it is for a while because it could have been a terrorist attack. It could have been meteorite. This is the school. Why are they recording this classroom?
Matthew, wait a minute.
Okay, this is the intense light. It got so bright it blotted out the camera because it couldn't handle the light, and then it, comes back because it's so bright. It's
Did
brighter than
anything
the
even
sun.
happen?
It caught the light going through. Then there's a shockwave. So there's a time
And this
frame.
guy is running for his life.
Get out of the window. Get out of the windows.
Это обращение
This woman doesn't react how you
которые
think she should.
зафиксированы за январь месяц.
Run for your life. Don't just sit there. Nobody's helping. Nobody's like. I just RKO.
Kind of looks like cat.
Is there one where like the whole light it turns like
So this Chelyabinsk meteor that was in 2013. So it comes across. So it comes in and it's going super fast, and as it comes into the atmosphere, the friction of the wind is going to make it burn, and it gets brighter and brighter, and it gets so big it blots out the sun. But there wasn't a lot of sun.
The Chelyabinsk meteor exploded in a spectacular fashion over Russia on February 15, 2013, an extraordinary event documented on a level far greater than we had any right to expect, thanks to all those wonderful Russian dash cams. And we are still learning all sorts of fascinating stuff about what exactly happened here. Let's start with this. It was the largest known object to enter the Earth's atmosphere since the 1908 Tunguska event. That was when a small comet or meteor exploded over Siberia, leveling about 80 million trees over a 2,150 square kilometer area. And just for reference here, the original object is called a meteoroid. The explosion in the atmosphere itself is a meteor, and the material that reached the ground are meteorites. In this case, scientists now estimate that the mass of the original 19-meter wide object was between 12,000 and 13,000 metric tons, twice as large as the earliest estimates. It entered the Earth's atmosphere traveling at about 19 kilometers per second, 50 times the speed of sound, and began to break up at an altitude of between 45 and 30 kilometers. Here, it became the now familiar streaking fireball, momentarily glowing 30 times brighter than the sun and emitting enough heat and light to cause burns to some people's skin and retinas. Even the usually conservative NASA described the event as, quote, an extraordinarily large fireball. One study published in the journal Nature calculated the energy of the Chelyabinsk airburst as being the equivalent of 400 to 600 kilotons of TNT. Essentially, no one thought a meteor this size could cause this level of impact. In Chelyabinsk alone, more than 3,000 buildings were damaged. New analysis also suggests that impacts on a scale like this one may actually happen as often as every few decades instead of once every 150 years, as we previously believed. Most impacts occur over the ocean, of course, or in remote areas where there aren't an abundance of people with dashboard cameras. Like in most meteors, the majority of the Chelyabinsk space rock disintegrated during its fiery passage across the sky, almost all of it turning into gas and dust by the time it reached an altitude of 27 kilometers. Lucky for everyone, the atmosphere absorbed most of the kinetic energy from the airburst. At most, scientists believe that about 5,900 kilograms of meteorites ended up striking the Earth, nearly all in tiny pieces scattered along below the meteor's root. You've probably seen photos of the largest impact, a 650-kilogram meteorite that crashed through the ice into Lake Chabarkal. I apologize for my Russian. A team of researchers recovered this piece and found that, like 95% of all meteorites, it was a chondrite, a mixed...
Okay, so you're going to add a meteorite as your last thing to your sketch notes today. So I'm going to have a ball, and I'm going to have boom.
I'm gonna destroy everything.
Hold on to your pictures.
We're not forget to see
How